to eliminate as many enemy combat vehicles as you can. The mission isn't over until theirs is. Keep an eye on the remaining time. Also bear in mind that you'll fail the mission if you don't take out a single vehicle. As for payment, the more vehicles, the bigger our paycheck. So give them a real fireworks show. Check the target's locations on your map. Once you've spotted incoming reinforcements, their location will be added to your iDroid too. Intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. Information on new targets. Check your iDroid for their predicted route. four-wheel drive transporting a prisoner. It's not part of the mission. Do you think you can bust him loose? Just if you have the time to spare. Roger that. You've got other targets closing in. You can check their predicted route on your iDroid. Boss, that prisoner we rescued provided some intel. We now know the location of a hidden enemy staging area. Check it on your iDroid.
Snake! Talk to me! Snake! Snake!
In this mission, we're back up for the guerrillas' offensive operation. Take out the incoming Soviet combat vehicles. Each one you eliminate will contribute to our reward. However, you'll fail the mission if you don't take out any at all. Boss, each vehicle is a piggy bank just waiting to be smashed. Get as many as you can.
Начинаем осмотр. Прием! КП, понял. Смотрите в оба. Конец связи.
on the move. I sent the predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map. On new targets. Check your iDroid for that predicted route. We spotted a four-wheel drive transporting a prisoner. It's not part of the mission. Do you think you can bust him loose? Just if you have the time to spare. Boss, you're doing great. Plenty of targets eliminated. Just the pace I'd expect. Other targets closing in. You can check the predicted route on your iDroid. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. Subject is in. Boss, need a little extra firepower? We spotted a Soviet weapons transport truck. Apparently, its cargo was something pretty powerful. What do you think? Should we make them share? Tread carefully, boss. Faster than they can come in. The guerrillas' operation is going smoothly too. Keep it up. 2 minutes remaining. A target has left the mission area. It's too late to eliminate that one. Just focus on taking out the remaining targets. The enemy reinforcements have stopped. No targets remaining. Boss, exfiltrate the hot zone.
Snake, talk to me! Snake!
In this mission, we're back up for the guerrillas' offensive operation. Take out the incoming Soviet combat vehicles. Each one you eliminate will contribute to our reward. However, you'll fail the mission if you don't take out any at all. Boss, each vehicle is a piggy bank just waiting to be smashed. Get as many as you can.
Начинаем осмотр. Прием! КП, понял. Будьте максимально осторожны. Конец связи. КП, это Дмитрий 3. Посмотрел. Ничего не нашел. Прием! Это КП. Понял. Вернитесь на пост. Прием.
Boss, I have a report from the intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map. Information on new targets. Check your iDroid for that predicted route.
КП, Соя-1. Где атаковали? Мы не видим врага. Прием. Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку. Выгрузите врага. Конец связи.
Fire!
Transporting a prisoner. It's not part of the mission. Do you think you can bust him loose? Just if you have the time to spare. Boss, you're doing great. Plenty of targets eliminated. Just the pace I'd expect. Other targets closing in. You can check their predicted route on your iDroid. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. Okay, subject is in. You gotta extract him. Boss, need a little extra firepower? We spotted a Soviet weapons transport truck. Apparently its cargo is something pretty powerful. What do you think? Should we make them share? Tread carefully, boss. That's incredible. You're taking them out faster than they can come in. The guerrillas' operation is going smoothly, too. Keep it up. Nice work, boss. Targets are almost history. Boss, we have new targets. Check your iDroid for the details. Will be ending soon. Boss, you still at it? Keep going. This is the stuff legends are made of. like a man possessed. The guerrillas' offensive is still in progress, but our work here is done. Exfiltrate the mission area. Damn it. Soviet reinforcements incoming. Tanks and a gunship. And you're the target. Looks like we pushed the Soviets a little too far. Boss, those Soviets are a threat to the guerrillas. You can bet there'd be a bonus in it if you take them out. That said, the mission objectives are complete, so you can leave the area if you want. Your choice, boss. That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from his machine gun can cut a man in half. Tread carefully, boss. gunship is down. That should add a little extra to our paycheck. reward will add up to. Eliminated. Just think what the reward will add up to. with their anti-air radar? It wasn't one of the targets, but that's put a hole in their air surveillance. The chopper will be able to get in close now. You can designate him. Boss, get down. The enemy sniper. Stay low and crawl along the ground. That should enable you to sneak past enemies.
Боевым группам, это кафе. Мы вступили в схватку с противником. Все боевые единицы приготовиться к бою.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. He's coming too. Roger that.
Arriving shortly at LZ. This is Pequot. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
Out of the hot zone. No sign of the enemy. Mission complete, boss. Yes, mission complete. Boss, that was exceptional.
had the R&D team analyze the honeybee.
How? The CIA wanted it with everything intact.
They took it apart to look at it. Then they put it back together. Everything intact.
That's the R&D boys, all right.
Turns out the honeybee's homing capabilities are a cut above previous manpads. It can detect a broad range of infrared wavelengths, and even ultraviolet for supplementary guidance.
Hence the name, huh?
Right. Honeybees rely on UV light to fly. With this device, flares don't do the target any good.
That's why the Soviets are losing so many gunships.
And why the CIA was so desperate to get it back. It wasn't just about preventing the Soviets from devising countermeasures. What if the likes of Iran got their hands on it?
American aircraft would be put at risk too.
We can use this tech to develop our own portable missile. That'll give us a huge advantage. It'll take a little time before the analysis results can be applied to actual implementation. But we'll keep moving with the research. Diamond Dog's intel team specializes in information gathering, mainly HUMINT and SIGINT. They plant scouts and moles in the field. These operatives will blend into the local populace and work under the guise of a resident, or disguise themselves as travelers and ask around for information. They observe targets using various hidden bugs, cameras, and transmitters, and by tapping their satellite and phone communications. Analyzing all this information creates a clear picture of how wars and the PFs fighting them are changing. This data can also be used for threat assessment when deciding whether to accept contracts from certain clients. And during missions, the intel team keeps track of target locations and produces FOM predictions, reporting mission-critical information based on real-time remote observation of changes in the AO. What you hear from us over the radio is based on how we interpret the data gathered at the command platform. However, intel team operatives go unarmed in almost all situations to avoid revealing themselves to the enemy. Some will carry a knife, but most have nothing at all. As such, don't expect them to help you take on heavily armed adversaries like PF soldiers. Think of them as entirely passive in the hot zone. Plus, they use all manner of techniques to remain inconspicuous in the field. If you ever spot one, you'll have some serious explaining to do. So remember, their specialty is espionage. They may not be of use in a firefight, but when it comes to intel, they're pros. Look closely. Those are the symptoms of the infection on Mother Base. The blisters on the body were full of tiny worms. Parasite larvae, most likely. But we couldn't find any adults. It doesn't seem to mature in the body, like a spargatum. We don't know the root of infection, or what causes symptoms to develop. The infection rate, along with the number of dead, are both on the rise. If we don't find the cause, and soon...
Boss, do you remember seeing these symptoms before? The bodies, the bedridden, this it could be there's something, and no, something, there must be something in it.
All we can do right now is halt the spread of infection. Remember before, boss, when Quiet attacked one of our guys on Mother Base, stuck a knife in his mouth. He's one of the very few soldiers who've had contact with her recently. Close contact. I don't think it's a coincidence that he was among those who became symptomatic pretty early on in this epidemic. Saliva and blood spatter, an open wound, mucosal infection. Whatever is causing this got inside him then.
Miller, that is a baseless accusation.
The source of the infection is Quiet. Everyone suspects her.
We don't know that. And we've come across these symptoms before. The bodies in the water at the oil field facility. Those sick people in the beds at the Devil's House. They're identical to what we've seen while we've been after Cypher. The infection could have come from elsewhere. But at the very least, she does know something.
It's not like she's gonna talk.
No, not through words anyway. But what about her actions? Quiet held a knife to that soldier back then, before he became symptomatic. There must have been a reason for that.
A reason for shoving a knife down the throat of one of our men.
What if she's capable of identifying who's infected? What if she was trying to stop the infection but couldn't communicate that to us? The answer to that, the source of the infection, might be in the mouths of the infected.
You think there's some kind of clue in their mouths?
I don't know. But maybe there's something about the mouths of those who become symptomatic, something in common.
Something their mouths have in common. Forget it. We can't trust her. Even if she can spot the infected, I don't want her help.
I understand how you feel. But this is something to go on.
Can't you see it's just like I said? Bringing her here was a big mistake. Quiet is gonna be the end of us.
Stand down. You've got zero proof. Try to keep an open mind on this, boss. There has to be a way to identify who's infected. You called that thing Sahelanthropus. Where does the name come from?
Well, several years ago, an excavation team discovered a hominid skull in the Sahel region.
Central Africa. The Southern Sahara.
Cypher gave the specimen the name Sahelanthropus, Man of Sahel. And then they covered the whole thing up.
Why?
They probably wanted to monopolize information about human evolution to have a head start in their genetic research. At least, until they had an idea of what they'd found.
It was that big of a discovery, huh?
Sahelanthropus was a gracile hominid, estimated to have lived about 7 million years ago. What's significant about it is how its skull's foramen magnum faces down. In other words, its spinal column supported its head from underneath.
It stood upright.
Right. Which would mean Sahelanthropus walked upright 3 million years before Australopithecus, making it the world's oldest human species.
Walking upright. I get it. Hence the name Sahelanthropus for your machine.
Walking upright was the decisive difference between our ancestors and other anthropoids. Our brains could get heavier once they were supported by the spinal column. That led to the use of tools and the development of complex communication through language. Only man is capable of this. My creation will be the progenitor of all bipedal weapon platforms.
And you did this for Cypher?
No, not at all. Sahelanthropus is the best proof that I never betrayed you guys.
What do you mean?
The reconstructed Sahelanthropus skull looked exactly like the skull we used as our logo 9 years ago in the Caribbean.
An army without a nation. Outside the world order.
The design was based on Pangaea, the supercontinent that existed 250 million years ago, right?
Yeah. When the world was a single landmass. That concept's at the source of our strength.
I felt the same way about Sahelanthropus. Sure, I was forced to build it under their orders, but I always wanted to put its technology back in our hands someday. That's the reason I incorporated the old insignia into Sahelanthropus's name. Don't you see? That's how much I was thinking about you guys.
Oh, I see, all right. I see someone desperate to cover his ass. You can say whatever you want after the fact. But that skull also symbolizes somebody else. Skullface.
Snake, you finally came. Just don't record this, okay?
Not recording anything. What's this about?
What I'm about to say stays between you and me. It's about the weapon to surpass Metal Gear. You know a researcher by the name of Clark? He works in the biotech industry. Real advanced stuff. His area is bioengineering, but lately he's also gotten into genetic research.
Never heard of him.
Well then, what do you know about cloning?
I think I've heard enough.
Hold on, this is important. Cloning lets you create a genetic copy of an organism. You take the nucleus of one of its cells, and you swap it with the nucleus of an unfertilized egg from another member of the same species. They started out working with plants, but since then they've had success with other organisms, including mammals. It's a hot area for a lot of places right now. Corporations, universities, research groups. There's no shortage of scientists out to get famous and patent their work, with morality taking a back seat.
Isn't that a little outside your field?
It's got nothing to do with my research. But I thought it might be of interest to you. Cloning, and Dr. Clark, I mean.
Go on.
Now, this is really highly classified stuff. But I've heard that an American biotech company has successfully cloned a human being. What's more, it happened over 10 years ago. And the researcher behind it was Dr. Clark. You've really never heard of him?
I don't meet many doctors.
This Dr. Clark is a complete ghost, even to others in his field. His age, where he comes from, that might not be his real name. And I can't even say for sure he's a he. Clark's employer, ATGC, its company motto is embracing your hopes, preserving talent.
What does this have to do with me?
Cypher. Dr. Clark works for ATGC, and they have connections to DARPA. Cypher couldn't function without the communications network DARPA's built. Meaning, Cypher has to be a part of the Pentagon. Or at least, the two are joined at the hip. DARPA is a driving force behind human cloning. It's a pretty high priority project for them. And this Dr. Clark, some say he's a pivotal player in Cypher. But that's not all. Every cell nucleus in an organism contains the genetic information for that organism. Think of it as a blueprint for life. Clark appears to be working on how to decode this information and rearrange it at will. If you could do that, it would mean being able to custom design human beings for specific purposes. Can you believe that? Suppose for a moment that this is all fact. A man of your talents, if your genetic information died with you, that would be a terrible loss for mankind. But what if mankind could preserve you for future generations by cloning you?
All right, enough. I get the idea.
Look, I know it's inductive reasoning, but this weapon to surpass Metal Gear they're developing in Africa, I believe it's something that uses this new technology. Speaking as a fellow scientist, it chills me to the bone.
That's rich coming from you.
If genes serve as our blueprint, then I wonder if they include an impulse that drives us to tweak the design. Can you imagine that? Genes, encoded with information that wants its children to decode it. Is life itself putting the direction of our next evolution in the hands of scientists? I guess it would take some real arrogance to believe that. And yet, it could be what Cypher's after.
I think you're barking up the wrong tree. But that was an interesting story. It'd make a good movie.
You have to believe me.
Where'd you hear all this anyway?
Where? I just overheard it in bits and pieces while I was forced to do that research for them.
Right.
Wait a minute. Look, I want to help you. I want to be of service here. I'm risking my life with this.
Is that so? Maybe it's time we brought someone else into the conversation.
No, not him. Not Ocelot. You can't do this. Fine. Yes, Strangelove was doing AI research in that lab.
Why hide that until now?
Why? Okay, so what? I wasn't working alone. You've got to understand. You do understand, right? I didn't want to drag her into this. It's my load to bear.
It was Strangelove.
Skullface was never in favor of AI control. So naturally they argued. Strangelove, she got him angry and he killed her.
How? You didn't see it? So you found her inside that pod after the fact. And you just left her body to rot in there. Or perhaps you put her in there afterward.
I asked him not to take her away from me.
So she was killed by Skullface, but you asked nicely, and he put her body in the AI pod for you?
That's right.
Pathetic.
You know, we have another idea. That you killed her.
Me? I couldn't kill her.
You killed her and locked her body in the pod.
I wouldn't. Don't treat me like one of you. I can't just kill anyone whenever I feel like it. I'm a normal human being.
Oh, I see. So you just shut her inside and waited for her to die.
I would never do that.
What, you mean she killed herself?
Yes. She climbed inside that pod and shut the door. It can't be opened from the outside. It was suicide. Suicide, I said. She killed herself. She got in when I wasn't looking and suffocated. She'd often try to do things like that. By the time I realized and opened the door, she wasn't breathing. I got scared and shut the pod again. I couldn't bring myself to open it back up. That's right. Me? Kill her? What is wrong with you?
I see. Just tell me one more thing.
Haven't you gotten enough today?
Okay, I see it's a painful memory. You don't have to answer, just listen to the question. You see, we examined her remains. She had a scar on her lower abdomen, a surgical scar. It had been stitched up and had fully healed, meaning it was long before her death. She had a child, didn't she? Your child. Where's the kid?
How should I know?
So there is a child.
I've never seen his face.
What do you take us for?
They took it all. Even my child. I didn't even know he'd been born. I lost everything.
How old would he be?
It's 4 years since then.
And you know it's a boy.
Strangelove said so.
And his name?
We called him Hal, even though I never saw his face.
I have the report on that cargo we stole from Cypher's truck. The PF was transporting two things. the analysis of that malachite has come back first. Naturally, the main compound is copper. There's also a small amount of cobalt. Nothing unusual so far. Southern Zaire is a well-known copper belt. However, in addition to these, we also detected a trace amount of uranium. The content percentage, though, is too low for nuclear development. It most likely came from Shinkalobwe mine. That's where the uranium in that area comes from. The mine's closed, as all the high-purity uranium ore dried up a long time ago, but you could probably still find it there in small quantities. That said, there are plenty of other uranium mines that are in operation, like in Niger, Namibia, South Africa. Why go to an abandoned mine to scrape up whatever's left and ship it out in mass quantities without refining it? They were transporting that yellow cake too, which would suggest they have the technology to refine uranium. Anyway, that about sums it up. Unfortunately, the analysis of that yellow cake is taking a little longer. I'll let you know when it's done. Boss, sorry to keep you waiting. We finally finished analyzing that yellow cake cipher was moving. There was nothing unusual about the composition of the yellow cake itself. Most of it was oxidized uranium, with the rest being impurities, various metals as well as traces of organic matter. What's interesting is the composition of these impurities. When we checked them against the impurities found in the copper ore, it was clear the yellow cake didn't come from Shinkalobwe, meaning they went to the trouble of mining two sources of uranium, then transported them together in different states. Another thing, we detected a very thin layer of highly enriched uranium in the middle of the yellow cake. Now that is very interesting. It may not be a lot, but it points to the existence of uranium enriching technology. After all, yellow cake can't naturally produce highly enriched uranium. If they could mass produce this, they'd be just one step away from a gun barrel type nuclear bomb. But uranium enrichment requires advanced technology and a large-scale facility. If that kind of place existed in Zaire, the Soviet Union wouldn't sit idly by. And there's another question. Where were they transporting the yellow cake and malachite uranium? The first place that comes to mind is South Africa. The government was supposed to have abandoned nuclear weapons development after caving to international pressure. But rumors persist that it's continued in secret. Plus, ZRS were escorting the truck, and they're based out of South Africa. And then South Africa does have an abandoned test site. If Cypher's involved with nuclear development in South Africa. But how would that fit with their weapon to surpass Metal Gear? We need more information.
Shinkalobwe. There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
The U.S. bought a lot of uranium from Shinkalobwe mine during World War II for the Manhattan Project. They even sent a squad from the Army Corps of Engineers to reopen the mine after it was flooded. That's how good its uranium must have been. With that, the world's first nuclear test was a success. Shinkalobwe uranium might have been used in the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs too. Just hearing its name is like seeing all the phantoms of the war rise up to haunt us. But all the uranium's dried up.
So someone reopened.
Right. Zero-risk security seized control of the area, and the Zairean government was getting a slice of what they took in exchange for. Mobutu has to finance his tastes somehow. He'll gladly sell the rights to some old mine. The question is, why would zero-risk security do this kind of thing?
Or rather, why were their employers, Cypher, interested in an abandoned, maybe getting trace amounts of uranium, meaning security would be not a very efficient way of obtaining it.
But how would they enrich it at its...
Did the yellow cake really have a layer of...
Having trouble believing it?
No. If they say it's real. In which case, they might have some enrichment method that we don't know about.
And this was to test...
It's possible. And that would mean it's almost complete. Ever since the attack on your unit 9 years ago, the name Big Boss has become known the world over.
What do you mean?
Those of your men who survived traveled far and wide. They fought throughout the world. In fact, they're part of the reason. Every one of them suffered their own phantom pain from losing you. Talking about you wherever they went helped to heal their wounds. Your actions and words, has been told on every battle. Obviously, as the tales have spread, the truth's been distorted. Big Boss sacrificed himself to show us the threat that Cypher poses. He sounded a warning. Too much power destroys the hands that hold it. Apparently, you chose to be a living example of that.
I never said any of that.
The moment any truth is passed on, it starts turning into fiction. The problem is, fiction inspires people more than fact. To the world, you're now the legendary mercenary big lessons you've taught the PFs are the reason they're so widespread. They're the reason they've survived. And you know what they all aspire to one day go nuclear, just like you did. Of all the stupid things, they'll never understand what you really wanted. Heroes are misunderstood. It takes a man of the bottom line is, these guys want to be like their hero, big, and deep down they all have their eyes on. They say that a nuke is the only meat these days. It's becoming little more than a slogan to rally the troops and survive in a cutthroat business.
Currently, there are 3 major PFs who've CFA, Rogue Coyote. HEC's investigations have shown there's almost no overlap. It's not so much a turf war. More like they have a gentleman. If you do cross paths with him, you probably won't have to face more than one at a time. Still, don't expect a walk in the park. The CFA. These guys are a major player. Their head office is in Pretoria. That's also where the South African... We think the two are closely connected. An HEC investigation revealed that South Africa has been locked in struggles with... That means constant action. And we know better than anyone that's the best kind of train. A company drawing its recruits. Do not underestimate them. Within the CFA is a company of soldiers made up mainly of... They speak Afrikaans too, but if you notice any speaking the local language, go hard from the local population. They were originally part of a paramilitary, and unlike their days shoot, the CFA now supplies... On top of that, they've been combat. All that up, so don't brush them off. Look at the Angola-Zaire. It's a microcosm of a problem. There's a civil war in the western back. Zaire is numerous, with all the trouble. Neither government. They depend on government force. Groups of all shapes and sizes. Conflict brings PF6 and more. Sounds like our mother base could grow by leaps and bounds. Boss, about those invalids you saw in that devil's house.
Poor bastards. All strapped down to the beds.
The medical staff tell me they were probably a type of...
Cysts can get that big.
In some cases, yes. Supposing they're a kind of atheroma forming on the surface. Besides, it's just too big. In the end, the medical team were at a... Those lumps were like nothing they'd ever seen. The fluid you said you got on your prosthesis when you touched one was burned off in the fighting. And the factory burned down too. None of the tests we did once you were back at the base revealed a pathogen that could have come. Meaning we don't have a single sample to work with.
Everything went up in flames.
What worries the medical team most is whether there's a chance we could end up.
And?
Mother Base's sanitation control has always been strict. After all, for the time being at least, there's no sign of contagion or any symptoms that could be related. One more thing. About the surgery.
Yeah?
You said that their throats were cut open. With an acoustic tube pushed inside?
Right. The tubes were hooked up to tape recorders, playing some kind of...
Well, we picked up some of that audio through your radio transmission. The intel team has been working on
What have they found?
There's nothing tying the... We've got a report on 3 deaths in a car accident on the auto route near Mars. Protests outside the Libyan embassy, and a press conference with the former prime minister. A 4-month-old weather forecast for Balikpapan. And then commercials for appliances, cough syrup, and TV dinners. Assuming they're not all staged, and come off as recording.
Public broadcast, just radio and TV.
Yes, and from all over the world. We're looking into whether they're genuine or not, just to be sure. What else? A speech that sounds like it was recorded out on the street.
And there's nothing they have in common?
We're partway through the cryptonaut. That includes checking all audio ranges and running it backward, and at different... Then there's vocabulary breakdown for political suggestions. Ideological but I don't think it's gonna get us anywhere.
Where were the recordings made?
There's nothing linking them from that end, just like you reported. We've detected virtually every French, German, Italian, Spanish, including South American accents. Then there's Russian, Hindi, Arabic, Portuguese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese.
They're nothing if not thorough.
Well, I don't know if we've got them all covered. Ignoring the ones that have gone extinct, supposedly over 5,000. Besides, English isn't one of the ones we...
Really? English?
I know. Only 5% of the world's population is a native English, but when you factor in those who've acquired it as a second language, nearly 1/3 of the world's dominant lingua, you gotta figure they had it somewhere among all the languages in...
No English.
Bear in mind, we didn't hear everything that was played in that room. We couldn't isolate the more distant sounds due to Well, the program could have been set to change every day. In a nutshell, for people in that room with a common medical condition were made to listen to recordings in language. It's not clear how the growths on their chest. It could have been treatment for them, or maybe an experiment.
I'm guessing one person knows.
Yeah, Skullfin. The only thing we can say for sure is that he's involved.
About the pathogen spreading through Mother Base. You've seen everything we've got on the outbreak.
Textbook symptoms of Volk, and judging from this, it is the Kikongo strain. Meaning, a breed of parasite.
So our Kikongo-speaking staff are at risk.
Quite so.
He's right. All the victims do.
So they can survive if they just use another language.
There is no guarantee. You're only dealing other language strains. You well know he was teaching them languages from
The Devil's House.
There is no way to know.
So how do we keep them from becoming symptomatic? You mentioned using microbes.
Use a type of mold introduced to a sample.
Wolbachia.
A parasitic bacteria that turning male and preventing. We must cultivate more. What have you done with the infect?
Cremated to stop the spread of infection. But we did keep a few for study.
Good. Take this sample, grind it to a pulp, and introduce it to the larvae now nesting in the dead. The Wolbachia will multiply rapidly.
They're soldiers, not some petri dish.
Conventional cultivation method. Extract the Wolbachia from those larvae and vaccinate your men. Kikongo speakers first. This is the fastest. No one is to speak a word of Kikongo. I will instruct your medical staff. You have the...
Yes,
but do not... I made a pact with your bit de Jolone. On the honor of... I speak.
Keep an eye on him.
Will do. Follow me. I'll take you to the medical team.
Now, we must wait for the Wolbachia.
How is the disease transmitted?
There is no...
So...
The vocal cord parasites laid most hatch and migrate to the lungs, but some are mixing in with saliva.
Sneezing, coughing. It would spread fast.
Indeed. And when the larvae migrate, symptoms can resemble the early stages.
Meaning a simple conversation
Migrate to the lung.
It is as I stay mature. It is only then that noticeable.
By that point, it's too late. It's one hell of a weapon you've created.
That is what Blag Anna wanted. Something that would, in truth, he's not. But we will discuss that another time.
The Wolbachia have multiplied. But sure, it'll prevent infection, but
You would rather remove their
No. Tactical.
What if we were to ban the...
Insufficient. First, there is no guarantee that only the kick. Second, there is the matter of how the before they kick, they must be exposed to the pronunciation like a container filling. But the duration between when the container is full and when the copy. In other words, even if the infected stop speaking, the only true solution is to or by physically removing.
Do any antiparasitics work?
It sounds as though you...
Yeah. Nothing.
I have yet to find a medicine. At best, it temporarily covers their ears.
What?
Because the parasite companion to remove them inevitably.
Companions.
More than... And this is why the human immune system cannot eliminate them.
Go, Tucker. What are the metallic archaea?
Volcanic craters spewing sulfur. Water hot enough to boil your skin off. Ocean depths of 800 plus atmospheres. Wastelands radioactive enough. There are groups of organisms that survive. No.
I've heard about them.
Extremophiles. By selecting certain, I created a metallic offspring. They subsist on metals.
And some of them even consume...
Yes. Uranium enrichment archaea metabolize only uranium-235. As a result, they produce weapons-grade enriched uranium.
How is that possible?
Consider how plants fractionate carbon isotopes when they conduct photosynthesis. Nature possesses abilities beyond.
So it was archaea that brought down your chopper?
Corrode the oxidized metals, feeding up what became of the
We had the R&D team retrieve airtight plastic.
Prudent. They should help you fight back against...
Any chance we could start now? It doesn't have to be. I might just have another use for them.
If it's only a small...
That's fine. I'll get the R&D team to assist. Let's go.
South Africa was previously... It already had a conspicuous presence at the UN because of apartheid. But when neighboring Angola and Mozambique became socialist countries, so it accelerated its nuclear program to protect itself. 3 years later, and 2 years after that, an American satellite observed a flash in the sun. It said this was South Africa conducting a nuclear test with the help of a certain ally. Skullface used the situation in South Africa to get this ally to... They both wanted nukes, so it was a mutually beneficial relationship.
I figure South Africa started getting serious about nuclear weapons production in '75. In '74, the government was still able to get by with bluffing that it had a nuclear arsenal. The year after? That's right, boss. What happened to you and your men was the reason South Africa decided a force independent of any country getting its hands on a nuke. That was a threat to the It wasn't just South. The world was... You were a threat to more... And watch the whole world grind to a halt. This is yellow cake that Cypher was having the PFs. Before we met you, the boss recovered it from a truck. Are there metallic archaea inside it?
Yes, the archaea metabolize They must be stored inside yellow cake, or they cannot...
So those biological traces we took for impurities were actually the real cargo.
Of course, they are deactivated, so they do not trigger a sudden enrichment. They are like baker's yeast. Yet, they do gradually enrich the uranium as they feed. I imagine you detected weapons...
Yeah. And the malachite that was loaded on the truck had traces of... So that's the flour, huh? Skullface was gonna sell do-it-yourself nuke kits. The uranium-enriching archaea complete with it, and the ores with the uranium could be sourced by the client or provided by Cypher.
Even the trace proving that must have been the most that.
So if the amounts of uranium in the ores are low enough, they can get past any inspection. And you only need a tiny amount of the archaea to act as the yeast. No great challenge to smuggle that either. The first step towards saturating the world with nukes.
His plan. That was not mine. My only goal in developing the metallic archaea was to save the Dene.
What made you think a tool for creating undetectable nuclear weapons would save your people?
After 70 years, the Dene reclaimed we bore all the hardships of poverty. But we were proud to live off the land we called our own. But in the moment...
I don't get it.
The nuclear arms race between the US, suddenly, there was a massive demand for uranium. And it was our ill fortune that the ground beneath the Black Ana government set up mine after mine, and many of the Dene never informed of any danger. Every day, the slag was simply piled out in the open. When rain fell, uranium traces left behind would seep out. Land and water were contaminated. That pain...
I have no idea.
Wanting more than anything to revive the land my fort, I was delighted upon discovering microbes that eat if they could be domesticated. I believed we could rid our land of uranium.
Were you successful?
No. The research called for funds, but nobody was willing to invest with no prospect of a return.
And that's when Skullface showed up.
Correct. I can save you and your people. That is what he said to me, and I believed him. Black Ana forced me to end. He held all the Dene hostage. Today, the uranium mines, it is simply less expensive now.
New victims, different places.
But uranium is a tactical resource. To rely on a foreign country for it, a difficult... And he was in the perfect...
He could have condemned your people to the mine.
The contamination comes not only the fallout from the Nevada nuclear tests, as if our fortune were not already bad enough. We ought to save the Dene. I must complete my original research. The one that covers. The parasite that lives on the surface of the skull's bodies is what gives them their power. Similar to my children, who live in my skin. I modified the parasites I isolated from the body of that old man, differentiating them with various abilities. One that can blend perfectly into its surroundings by exposing the pigments in its cells at will. Another that, by harboring multiple species of metallic archaea, can isolating the one that covers and trap the same, but they can only subsist within a human body. Once transplanted. Another thing, the weakness of the one that covers is desiccation. The reason they give off mist is to alleviate this by releasing the salts inside them as microparticles. Water vapor condenses around them, but this dries out the atmosphere until they cannot even produce mist. And once their supply of water from the host runs out, they, along with their host, and however, a similar effect occurs if they come into contact with a large rain. For instance, the one that covers will temporarily abandon other processes. Make the weather your ally.
Why activate Sahelanthropus in Afghanistan? This is how Skullface wanted things to... The Soviet Union secretly develops a new type of nuclear... Revealing the existence of Sahelanthropus results in a return to the threat it poses reignites the nuclear arms race. The demand for nuclear weapons. What if you then introduced a nuclear weapon anyone? Non-nuclear nations, militant groups of all shapes and sizes. Sahelanthropus was a marketing tool to sell nukes all around the world. But I think it's safe to say that plan was stamped out. The world's intelligence agencies never did. After all, Sahelanthropus, everything that's happened is already a fading memory. Never, except Cypher. They'll already be working on something, quietly. But they'll use the pieces of data scraped to... It'll take them a long time to complete it, but for now, the greed sector have found their... We'll have to be ready too.
Boss, Code Talker's research has been stolen. The research materials have been packed into 2 containers and hidden in the jungle southwest of the mansion. Enemy extraction choppers will be there any minute. You have to find and retrieve those containers before they arrive. That area is being guarded by zero-risk security, and their client is XOF. If the choppers make off with the containers, that research will end up in Cypher's hands. That cannot be allowed to happen. One other thing, boss. We need a cargo-capable Fulton extraction device to recover the containers. Use your iDroid to order its development and have it dropped in.
Be careful down there, boss.
Know where the containers are. If you can just squeeze it out of them.
get it.
Checker, dit is jullie 4. Bedreiging gewoon. Gaan op gereedheid. Oor. Er is CMD, begrijp. Moet niet securiteit voor slachting. Uit.
Talk.
Where are you? I've updated the info on your iDroid. Take a look. The PF soldiers have no idea what's in those containers. Strictly a need-to-know basis.
Where are your friends?
Alles gespannen, dat zit hier. Alle eenheden, naar Paul's positie. Herhaal. Alle eenheden, naar Paul's positie.
Boss, what happened? Boss!
Your targets are 2 containers. Locate and extract them both.
Alle eenheden, speciale waarschuwing. Verdedig je positie. Uit.
Boss, looks like they're stepping up security around the targets. Watch yourself.
Fire! Wow. Fire! Fire!
Our early warning radar still hasn't picked up the enemy choppers. But it's only a matter of time before they arrive. I've updated the info on your iDroid. Take a look. MPF soldiers have no idea what's in those containers. Strictly a need-to-know basis. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. visibility in the jungle isn't great. Watch out. You could run into the enemy at any time.
Please, feel the roots, the branches. Become one with the forest. The forest is aware of the enemy's noise. You must be too.
Buddy! Buddy! Where are your friends? Buddy! Where are the others?
Target extraction confirmed. That leaves one target to go. Take care of the next one. Boss, our early warning radar just picked up the enemy choppers. We'll keep you informed of their ETA. Hurry up and extract the target.
You can't go firing on the XOF choppers. If we attack XOF now, it'll be a declaration of war against Cypher itself. That time will come, but it's not now.
Begin cover fire.
Fire! Waarschijnlijk een Bijstand alsjeblieft. Orde.
Exfiltrate the hot zone.
Visuele contact verloren. Keer terug naar de laatste bekende positie. Over. Er is meer begrijp. Doe je onderzoek. Maar wees voorzichtig. Uit.
Fire!
coming too. Roger that.
Fire! 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 Spit it out. Where are your friends? Fire! Fire!
You gotta extract him. He's coming too. Roger that. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us. zone. No enemy forces in pursuit. Mission complete. Mission complete. Phew, at least you made it. Boss, we got Code Talker's research materials back in one piece. The medical team has them under lock and key in the quarantine facility. The materials should help their research into the vocal cord parasites. Cypher won't be getting their hands on them now. Good. You captured it alive. Code Talker examined everyone here, and one of us is infected. It's quiet. It was our cutting-edge MRI that finally revealed it. But we don't know what language strain it is. Get back to base. Time for her to talk. You know the room number. 101.
Talk? Anything? Still living up to her name. How about you drop the act? Who infected you with a parasite? We can't let her talk. Put it back. All I want's a name. That won't trigger anything. Tell me. Tell me! Your lungs have been barbecued. There's traces of rubbing alcohol in your alveoli. This was found adhered to your lungs, intact. A petal. White Star of Bethlehem. The hospital. Skullface sent you to Cyprus to kill Snake. You were burned inside and out. That should have been the end of it. But, all things considered, you look pretty damn healthy to me. We have Skullface to thank for that, right?
I was the only one capable of applying them
to parasite therapy. Until he stole them from me.
Why are you here? Did Skullface send you? Or did you have your own score to settle with the boss? Refreshing? Salt water.
No! She'll die!
His life isn't yours to take. Enough.
That's enough.
If she wanted to kill the boss, he'd already be dead. Same goes for us. She's had plenty of chances. She can talk. She's not here to kill anyone. We're wasting your time. It doesn't matter why she's here. She works for you now. She's in love with the legend.
What makes you so sure?
I was the same way once.
What if she's a spy?
What if I'm a spy?
Or you?
Go on all day.
Boss.
Let her go. She won't speak, so she can't spread the infection.
Na beginnen Tisch. Nicht na getinti.
Oh.
Idiki plak anat e.
Oh. Ako kode jisdesni.
Dne bizad.
Belagana gesnita. Katobe yasteta. Aseitota. とうとうにした。とうとうにした。
I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDroid. Boss, some of the kids we've been keeping here have escaped. We don't know why they ran off, but it may have something to do with Ralph's death. The intel team's looking for them as we speak. I'll add information to your side ops list as it comes in. You need to locate and secure those kids. I'll try to find out what happened.
Boss!
Talk. Where are your friends?
Boss, let's have a mock back. Send me up.
Speak. Where are your friends?
Thank you, boss. Boss! Boss, how about developing something?
Why did the boss's old organization get taken out? Just because the U.S. didn't like having a threat like that on his doorstep?
You hear all kinds of stories. Commander Miller says there's more to it than that. They had this feud with an American covert intelligence agency called Cypher. During the Peace Walker incident, the boss built a merc outfit that fought alongside the mercs. Something with no government holding the reins. Cypher wanted their military muscle. The boss said no. They moved to the Caribbean-based massacre. I hear ya. Boss, will you trade with me?
Spit it out. Where are your friends?
What's up, boss?
Spit it out. Where are the others? Where are the others? Talk. Where are your friends?
Thanks for that, boss.
Boss, if you need supplies, we're here for you. Boss, first time to train with me?
Boss! Spit it out. Where are your friends?
The philosophers must be reunited. I will devote myself to them.
Boss,
And
any
with
chance of
Colonel's money,
expanding the base?
I will achieve them. Just as I once dreamed. But I still have a family. I may no longer be able to reach you, but I still have a family.
Whatever supplies you need, just let us know, boss.
Used to be. At the end of the Second World War, the philosophers began to fight amongst themselves, and the war was turning apart. Finish your mission. Prove your loyalty.
Boss!
It's almost tragic. Jack, is that you? How many years has it been? Jack, is it you? Jack. There is nothing left inside me now. Nothing at all. No hatred. Not even regret. And yet sometimes at night, I can still feel the pain creeping up inside me, slithering through my body like a snake. I may no longer be able to reach you, but I still have. Life said, isn't it beautiful? It's almost tragic. There is nothing left inside me. And yet sometimes I can still feel the pain creeping up inside me, slowly through my body. Life said, isn't it beautiful? It's almost tragic. Used to be. At the end of the Second World War, philosophers began to fight amongst themselves, and the world was turning apart. Finish your mission. Prove your loyalty.
Boss!
Philosophers began to fight amongst themselves, and the world was turning apart. There is nothing left inside me. And yet sometimes
Roger.
Boss!
squad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B squad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
Boss, we gave Ralph, that kid who died in the accident, a burial at sea. The man in charge of that facility has been severely punished. But ever since, the kids have been acting strange. It's obvious they've lost their trust in adults. I was getting reports of them ignoring the staff, or getting insolent, and even violent. And if
Boss, I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDroid. Boss, some of the kids we've been keeping here have escaped. We don't know why they ran off, but it may have something to do with Ralph's death. The intel team's looking for them as we speak. I'll add information to your side ops list as it comes in. You need to locate and secure those kids. I'll try to find out what happened.
died in the accident, a burial at sea. The man in charge of that facility has been severely punished. But ever since, the kid, it's obvious I was getting... And a few days later, several of the kids did a disappearing act. They snuck into choppers and shipping containers and got off base. Why? These kids were born in a war zone and forced to grow up as war fighters. If they're left alone, but I thought we showed them there are other reasons to live. I never liked having children on Mother Base. But the thought of them going back to the battlefield and picking up their old lifestyle makes me think of Chico. 9 years. We have to get those kids back. Hell, I never expected even the kids to betray us.